Para entender a un asesino serial, primero debemos escuchar su historia, sin importar cuán perturbadora sea esta. Así que, desde un policía asesino hasta un veterano de guerra caníbal, ¿comenzamos? Richard Ramírez, también conocido como el acosador nocturno, es uno de los asesinos en serie más conocidos de todos los tiempos. Responsable de al menos 13 muertes y muchas violaciones, comenzó su ola de crímenes en 1984, en donde asesinó, abusó y apuñaló a una viuda de 79 años, llamada Jenny Binko. Lo que hacía difícil su detección era que no tenía un patrón fijo. Mataba a personas sin importar sexo, edad, raza o condición social. En 2009, Richard fue relacionado al brutal asesinato de Mei Leung, su víctima más joven. Tenía solo 9. Su modus operandi también variaba mucho, ya que podía asesinar de una manera organizada sin dejar pistas y al mismo tiempo lo podía hacer sin ningún cuidado, creyéndose amparado por Satanás, dibujando signos satánicos en las paredes. Afirmando ser satanista, Richard obligó a algunas de sus víctimas a jurar por Satán, mientras las torturaba. Durante su primera comparecencia ante el tribunal, Richard levantó la mano para mostrar un pentagrama dibujado en ella.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another. Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil.
What do you want the world to know about you?
The world has been fed many lies about me. I have read very few truths.
Who are you?
Just a guy. Just a guy.
At the time, Ramirez was certainly a guy attracting a lot of attention. Since his arrival at the San Francisco jail, women from around the country, including one of the female jurors who had found him guilty in Los Angeles, had been flocking to the San Francisco facility, even fighting with each other over Richard's affections.
I have friends. That is all I care to say, really. They are open-minded people.
Did you kill 13 people?
It would be improper for me to comment on my LA convictions and on my pending case here in San Francisco.
Why?
Because of my appeals.
Are you appealing these because you say you're innocent? You didn't kill 13 people?
That is correct.
You didn't kill 13 people?
Again, it would be improper for me to comment in any regard to that question.
You have now entered a very rare group of people in this country. You're in the ranks of Charlie Manson, Ted Bundy. You claim you didn't commit these murders, but you're right in there now as far as everybody else is concerned.
Serial killers do on a small scale what governments do on a large one. They are a product of the times, and these are bloodthirsty times. Even psychopaths have emotions if you dig deep enough, but then again, maybe they don't.
Do you have emotions, Richard?
No comment.
Tell me what kind of emotions you got going through you right now.
I'll tell you what, I gave up on love and happiness a long time ago.
Why?
I don't care to explain that.
Somebody-
Let the quote stand for itself. People in this day and age are brainwashed and programmed like a computer at being nothing more than puppets. This nation, this country is founded in violence. Violent delights tend to have violent ends. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, people, and ages, it is a rule. Killing is killing, whether done for duty, profit, or fun. Men murdered themselves into this democracy.
You're good at reading your script, Richard, but you're not much at answering my direct questions. A lot was made that you're a devil worshiper. Do you worship the devil? Have you ever studied Satanism?
There are different sects of Satanism.
Have you studied, just yes or no, have you studied Satanism?
Yes, I have.
Are you a worshiper of the devil?
No comment.
Come on, Richard.
I can tell you a little bit about Satanism.
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you got to say then.
It is undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. It is power without charity. A Satanist admits to being evil.
Do you admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
I'm asking you the questions, my friend.
Yes, I am evil. Not 100%, but I am evil. Evil has always existed. The perfect world most people seek shall never come to pass. And it's going to get worse.
Michael Bruce Ross era un tipo muy abierto a hablar de sus asesinatos. Sin embargo, comparado con la mayoría de asesinos, él estaba fascinado con su propia psicología y buscó entender su comportamiento. Aún así, los detectives mantenían que todo era una actuación y un intento de manipular.
Well, I'm a serial killer. I've killed 8 women, 6 in this state and 2 in New York. I'm not a big serial killer, by the way. 8 people, that's nothing. I mean, there's a lot of other guys you can go see. I saw this woman walking along the road with a stroller. I pulled off the side of the road. She came into the driveway, walked up the driveway. I was behind the house. She saw me and I grabbed her. I told her that if she didn't do what I wanted, that I would smash the baby's head against the wall of the house. Where I think that's important is I've always said that I never understood why the women never really resisted me. I'm not a big, strong guy. Nobody ever seemed to fight. I raped her, strangled her. I left her for dead. The only reason she's not dead is it has nothing to do with me. So. When I attacked her, I don't believe I was in control. I don't think I could have stopped. Reason I say that is because there's a very clear point to me after she was dead when I was feeling, well, I didn't really feel anything. I mean, I knew what was going on and I saw what was going on, but it was more like watching an old film that we used to see as kids in the high school. You know, I mean, in elementary school, you would think that if you killed somebody, that you would have that face imprinted in your mind and that you wouldn't be able to get it out of your mind. I don't have that. I never had that. The only face that I can see is what was in the newspapers a few days later when they were missing, you know, like the high school pictures, anybody know where this girl is type thing. That's, when I think of them, that's the picture I see. I don't see them as they were when I killed them. I can't see them as I was killing them. When I say I don't have any remorse, that doesn't mean that I don't have any regrets, that I don't wish that didn't happen, that there was something I could do to bring them back or anything. It's just that I don't have any feelings towards them. I feel like I should be tormented by what they looked like when I was killing them, or tormented by what was happening immediately before I killed them and stuff. And none of that's there. None of that's there at all.
Aún así, pareciera que Ross siente remordimiento por una de sus 8 víctimas. En una entrevista con el criminólogo Christopher Berry, él habla acerca de Leslie Shelley, de 14 años, quien fue asesinada junto a su mejor amiga, April Bruneis.
They were dead as soon as I saw them, I think. I picked them up. They wanted me to drop them off at a gas station. I drove right by the gas station. Anyway, took them to a place, tied them up with some cloth that I had in the back seat. I put the younger girl, Leslie Shelley, into the trunk of the car, and I took the other girl, April Burnett, out, and I raped her and killed her, and I put her in the front seat. Well, the smallest one, Leslie Shelley, has always bothered me more than the others. I think it was because she was so small. I think it was because she was so cooperative, and I think it was because the way she was killed was so close to the fantasies. That was the one that was. It was like it was a fantasy. I'm not like that now. I'm just such a lovable guy now.
Desde 1960, perfiladores han entrevistado a múltiples asesinos seriales. Sin embargo, como ya hemos visto, muchos intentan manipular y controlar la situación. Un buen ejemplo de esto es Arthur Shawcross. Condenado por asesinar a más de 10 trabajadoras sexuales, en muchas entrevistas, él brindó detalles muy claros y a la misma vez extremos de sus crímenes. Pero aún queda la duda de qué cosa es cierto. De manera adicional, dependiendo de quién era el entrevistador, Arthur trataba diferentes métodos. Como por ejemplo, si sentía simpatía, él hablaba de su infancia, como vemos en esta entrevista con el psiquiatra Michael Stern.
I can remember back to when I was about 4. When I was 4, something happened to me with my mother. And that's when I was introduced to sex. Oral sex. And when I started doing the same thing with my younger sister, well, I told my mother, I said, I love my sister Jeannie more than sister and brother. Right? And she tried to convince me, no, it's not going to happen. You know, that's not right. Yeah, that's when she take a butcher knife to you and grab a hold of it. And she says, if you don't behave yourself, I'll cut it off.
You ever had thoughts that had to do with your mom, you know, where you really felt like dicing her, you know, or making pot roast out of her? Because it would be understandable, wouldn't it?
It would be understandable.
Sure it would. I mean, what you suffered.
Those thoughts were there.
Yeah. What about with the girl a couple months later? Was there something similar about that, or was that something that you had begun to think about?
Well, I was by myself.
Yeah.
And she showed up by herself. She was on top of the bridge. She started talking. I said, what are you doing down here by yourself? You know, she said, I go where you want to go. I pulled in my fishing poles and stuff, put them back up on the bike. And I started walking upstream, right? And she comes up there with me. And I don't know, just a spur of the moment.
She was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
Yeah. But there was a little bit of sexual stuff going on with her.
Right.
Yeah.
Shawcross admitted raping the girl before he killed her.
I was thinking about my sister Jeannie back.
Yeah, okay. Say a little bit more about that.
That's something I don't like to talk about.
If she was just in your mind, you know, kind of an equivalent symbolically of Jeannie, a person could say, well, she would be the last person you'd want to rough up.
When I realized what I did, you know, my only thought was to get rid of her.
Otra táctica era sorprender al entrevistador. De acuerdo a Shawcross, durante su estancia en Vietnam en la guerra, él salvajemente asesinó y canibalizó a 2 mujeres vietnamitas.
So I went down the mountain on the other side, kept on going down through the swamp, and I get on the other side and I see 3 grass huts up on the side of a hill. And I see a woman coming down, older woman. She got 3 rifles on this arm and 3 rifles on this arm, AK-47s. She's coming down a little path, maybe 6 inches wide, takes the rifles and she's putting them inside of a hollowed tree. And I went up behind her and I took a machete off my pack and I hit her right in the back of the head. And it took about 3 or 4 strikes to cut the head off. And I cut a stick about 6 foot long, sharpened at both ends, and drove it into the mud, picked up the head and set it on that stick, faced it to that tree.
The detail comes very close to mirroring the kind of vengeful assault that he would like to have made on his mother.
And as I went up the trail a little farther, I see smoke coming out of the last hut. And I get up there and they got a good-sized log with steps on it. And I climb up on the log and I look in and here's a girl in there and she's making booby traps with gunpowder. And I tied her hands up, led her up into the mountain, up on the other side, tied her to a teak tree. I took the body of the other woman and I cut the leg off at the knee and at the thigh. And I skinned it out and everything. It was only about yay big around. And I ran a piece of green bamboo through the bone itself, and I roasted that leg on it. I just cooked that leg, and I kept asking that woman questions, and she kept saying she didn't understand. And I told her, I says, what you're going to see now, I'm going to do to you. right? And I bit into that meat, and it was, you know, the human flesh.
Por los años 90, Gerald John Sheffer estaba desesperado por la atención que quería recibir, así que para su suerte, fue capaz de hacer contacto con la autora de Crímenes Reales, Sondra London, una exnovia de la escuela. Sin embargo, ella creía que Gerald era inocente y que los crímenes de los que hablaba eran mera ficción, escritos por un frustrado ex policía. En una serie de cartas, él contaba los supuestamente ficticios asesinatos desde la perspectiva de un ex oficial de policía. Gerald insistía en que eran solo eso, pero los investigadores creían que eran descripciones de crímenes reales. Luego estas cartas fueron publicadas en el libro Killer Fiction. Inquietantemente, mientras Gerald mantenía su inocencia, él utilizó el libro para alardear acerca de su número de muertes. Y si bien las autoridades han concluido que él es el responsable de la muerte de 34 mujeres, él afirma que el número es cercano a 100. Sin embargo, él confesó sus crímenes al infame asesino en serie, Ted Bundy, con quien se sabe, habló.
And I'd like to do something with my life, you know, that exemplifies the good as opposed to the bad. And I had hoped that Killer Fiction would have a good, would be something that would be good. And it's kind of a mixed bag, actually. Some people say, yeah, it's really good. And then others say, it's really disgusting. And I say, yeah, you're right, it is. It's really disgusting. Does it make you want to hate murder? Or does it make you want to do murder? Does it really horrify you? Are you a little more cautious about picking up that hitchhiker? You girls, are you a little more cautious about who you pick up in the singles bar and take home? They see The Deliberate Stranger and they see it as entertainment. But Ted was real. He was real, man. He'd kill you and laugh. He enjoyed it. And I could sit there, like when I'm sitting with you, and talk about it. He relished it. And I'm thinking, wow, this guy, if only you could get his face on a camera when he's talking to me like this in the cage. He had followed my case in the detective magazines, and that he had killed 2 girls in Washington as a copycat crime, so to speak. And he would tell me that he took them up on the logging road and strangled them and had sex with their corpses and went back and had sex with their corpses and cut off their heads. He's like bragging to me. It wasn't exactly a brag, it was like a tribute. How many did you get, really, Jerry? They said 34. Did they get all of them? I said, Dad, I'm the best. So he had 36. He wanted to be the best. And he was obsessed because they said I had 34. And he was afraid that I had ones that he didn't know about. See? And he was always trying to get me to say, no, that's all I got, 34, you know. But I never would say that. I discerned that he was concerned about the number. And it was my own way of needling him back by saying, I'm the best, Ted. You're going to fry, and I'm going to be here. And I'll be the best, just like they said. The number 1. The best there ever was. And you're nothing.